So, Hare Krishna. So, this is presentation number three. Uh, the topic cultivating tolerance and controlling anger, uh, which is needed by most of us, the sadhakas in Kali Yuga, and need to do this so that we can, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned, Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Saishna. Manina Manidena Kirtanya Sadhari. It is a requirement for most of us to develop tolerance so that we can control anger, and not just control anger, but to, by developing that mood of humility and tolerance, uh, we can always chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, uh, the Vedic scriptures confirm that anger is like drinking poison. Anger is like when you get angry, when we get angry, we get contaminated, we get polluted, the consciousness gets polluted. And the following presentation is based on the various episodes in Canto 4 that help us to understand detrimental effects that anger has on relationships with the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Now, this presentation is mainly based on the Daksha Prajapati and Sati and Lord Shiva's pastime. Uh, when Daksha insulted Lord Shiva, and Sati couldn't tolerate that, and she gave up her body. She like by activating uh, the the fire element in her body, she uh, she gave up that body. And so will that this presentation mainly based on that. As such, there are many other examples also, somewhere included at different places, as that of Dhruva Maharaj and Prachetas. But uh, we'll do the case study of Daksh Prajapati, Sati, and Lord. So, what are the causes of anger? Causes of anger are number one is expectations. Like Daksha expected Lord Shiva, his son-in-law, to respect him by standing up and welcoming him, as mentioned fourth canto, second chapter number seven. Second, that actually what happened, there was this sacrifice, and Daksha also went, and Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, they were seated. Lord Vishnu, they were all seated on their respective places, and all the demigods, those are from their seats and welcomed and greeted Daksha. But Lord Shiva, Brahma is the father of Daksha, and Lord Shiva is the son-in-law of Daksha, right? So Lord Shiva, he didn't pay much attention to uh, Daksha, and Daksha was expecting that since Lord Shiva he is his son-in-law, because daughter of Daksha, Sati, she is married to Lord Shiva. Hence, it was, out of social customs, it was expected from Lord Shiva that he should have respected, rose up from his seat and respected uh, Daksha. But since Lord Shiva was a Guna avatar, and he's Mahadev, he's the leader of all the demigods, and he's a Guna avatar, he's an expansion of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, and he was spiritually much more advanced. And since he was always meditating in his heart on the Supreme Lord, he was actually giving respect to all the souls, all the Jivatmas, all the living entities. So separately giving respect to Daksha, it was like not actually needed. But Daksha got frustrated, and his expectations were not met. And that was the primary cause of his getting angry with with Lord Shiva. Now, the second cause of second reason which gives rise to anger is judging on externals. Lord Shiva's appearance. Daksha was not very satisfied with Lord Shiva, because he considered him very poor and niggardly dressed, as these are the words given by written by Srila Prabhupada in his purports of fourth Canto's second chapter, eighth verse. And Lord Shiva, he he never constructed his palace or his apartment or his residential place. He just lives under tree in some or on Kailash hills, and he's not attached to opulent lifestyle. And he's in fact, and on the contrary, Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, they are living in a very opulent way, because they are supreme lords. And the devotees of Lord Shiva, they are living a very opulent life. Lord Shiva is always meditating on the beautiful form of Krishna in his heart. He's always chanting the names of Lord Ram Chandra. And he's the guru of all the great devotees, including Narad Muni and others. And you know, he has guided so many devotees, he has given so many stotras. So, Lord Shiva's external appearance was actually bewildering for Daksha. And Daksha got really confused. He got puzzled by seeing his external appearance. Actually, one of the reasons why he was not happy with Lord Shiva was that he was always dressed up in very shabby clothes, and he lived in sometimes in some crematorium, or sometimes in and most of the time in Kailash Hill. And so this was the second reason. Third is envy. Daksha, being materially puffed up, couldn't tolerate Lord Shiva's high position. Thus, his anger toward Lord Shiva for not standing in his presence was only the final manifestation of his envy. See, this was just a precursor. I mean, the catalyst that Lord Shiva didn't pay attention to. He didn't acknowledge his presence uh, in his in that assembly. So Daksha was already envious. He was actually envious. Envious in the sense, uh, Srila Prabhupada mentions his purpose, Bhaktivedanta purpose, that Lord Shiva was actually, he's a Guna avatar, as we know, all of us know, that he's in charge of the Tamo Guna. And Lord Vishnu, he comes in that, he takes up that mode, in that form, Lord Shiva's. And he takes care of the Tamoguna. And spiritually much 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 more advanced and much ahead of Daksha. Daksha knew that. So when people know that you are advanced spiritually, like we see in even in this material world, when people see us that we are material spiritually advanced, they become envious of us. So Daksha was similarly envious of Lord Shiva's high position, and this episode just further aggravated his envy. And then atmosphere. The material field is so unsteady that even personalities like Nandishwar Daksha were infected by atmosphere of anger. They forgot their position, cursing, counter cursing one another. So we can see uh, that when uh, you know such things happen, personalities, Bhrigu Muni and Daksha and Nandishwar later on, they cursed and counter cursed, and so many things happened. Nandishwar cursed that you will get a head of a goat. He cursed Daksha. Eventually, he said that. So these are the causes, because of the effect of the modes, atmosphere. These are the causes of the four causes of anger: expectations, judging on externals, envy, and atmosphere. So we can see Sati was trying to stop her immolating herself, self-immolation. The effects of anger, psychophysical, breathing heavily, like Sati was breathing very heavily when Lord Shiva was being blasphemed by the Daksha in the sacrifice organized by Daksha, where he or she, both of them were not invited. And even Dhruva became angry and he started breathing heavily when he was chastised by Suruchi, uh, his stepmother, mother of Uttam, his stepbrother. And then biting lips, like Lord Shiva, when he heard about the Sati's getting, immolation of Sati. And Dhruv Maharaj also, when he was chastised by, he was asked by Suruchi that he should change his body, and not just to sit on her lap, on the lap of his father. And then fairy glances, like Sati gave a very fairy glance to Daksha uh, when he was being blasphemed. Lord Shiva was being blasphemed. Prachetas, when they came, the 10 Prachetas, when they came out of the meditation, they saw the fully grown up, such tall grown up trees touching the heavens. They, just to make the land free, suitable for agriculture, they burned all the trees. And then mental impressions, when Lord Shiva remembered strong, when Lord Shiva heard from his wife about Daksha, he immediately remembered the strong words spoken against him and he was blasphemed. And here you can see Lord Shiva is actually advising Sati not to go to sacrifice of her father Daksha. And then anger expressed through various limbs like tongue, hand, and legs, how people react, and then the behavior, the effects on the behavior, psychopath, physical. Ungratefulness, like Daksha did not accept his father as the Brahma as his father. Like he, in a very polite manner, in a pseudo polite manner, he said that he's actually, very, very advanced age and something like that. And you know, he actually was finding fault in Brahma that he gave Sati marriage to Lord Shiva, and fault finding even in a faultless person like Lord Shiva is a faultless person, but he's a pure devotee. He's a well-wisher of all the jivatmas, all the devotees. But Daksha couldn't see that those good qualities. And rebellion. Sati did not follow Lord Shiva's advice. Lord Shiva had advised that don't go to that place, and where people don't respect you, you should not go. And how Lord Daksha is envious, and so many other arguments about you. But Sati just ignored it because she was so much attached, because of her natural attachment for Daksha and her mother and sisters. So many that her sisters must have come, the husbands of her sisters must have come, and why shouldn't I or you, both of us, also should go? So such things were there. And what are the consequences of anger? Detrimental. uh, like, despite the request of Brahma and other demigods, at everyone present, the Daksha just left the initial sacrifice which was taking place, and he just left. Aggravation. Anger is such that if one increases it, increases unlimitedly. Okay? Just like it happened at how all the personalities started fighting, cursing, counter cursing, and it just became complete mess over there. So it just gets aggravated if it is not checked. Illusion. By the manifestation anger, illusion becomes stronger, and this leads to forgetfulness of Krishna. And then hard-heartedness. Here you can see Veerbhadra beheading Daksha because Lord Shiva was angry on hearing that Sati had given her body because of no, here like she wanted to she wanted to give up her body so that she could get rid of her connection to Daksha. So hard-heartedness and sensitivity and hard-heartedness. So Daksha did not prevent Sati's death, although Daksha was uh, uh, her father. Still, he didn't stop Sati from preventing from. He didn't prevent Sati from committing that act of giving up her body. And Suruchi indirectly asked Dhruv to change his body. So that was also very hard-heartedness. And then insensitivity. One suffers more due to harsh words of a relative than due to the sharp arrows of an enemy. The heart or mind is just like an earthen pot. Once broken, cannot be repaired by any means. So Lord Shiva's advice to Sati and neglect. Daksha neglected his own daughter Sati because she was a wife of Shiva. These are the consequences of anger. When you become angry, you tend to ignore all the relations, tend to ignore all the relatives, all your near and dear ones. This is the consequence of becoming angry, and you lose your intelligence. And then eventually there is fall down. Due to accepting Shiva's good qualities to be bad, instead of becoming the most exalted soul, Daksha became the most fallen. So much so that even Lord Vishnu, even he, in a way, he didn't protect. Even he didn't give full protection to Daksha, and because of which Veerbhadra was able to behead Daksha. And I'm sorry, there is some uh, realign some issue with the slides. Okay, I have to try to go on. How to utilize the anger. There's a way to utilize the anger. Though the as Narottam Das Thakur, he says in his poem, "Though the Bhakta Dveshi Jane." So three personalities: the king, master of the servant, and saintly persons. King duty of the king is to become angry. Dhruva became angry and he killed uh, the yakshas. And this is a misunderstanding. He was misunderstood. And the duty of the king is that he should not tolerate it. I mean, he should not tolerate the introduction of any irreligious systems, and he should be angry and he should chastise the offenders so that proper principles of dharma is maintained. And then second one is master of the servant. By chastisement by master is mercy on a servant. Supreme Lord's killing of a demon is such an example. Friendly persons, not unhappy when a servant or scorpion is killed. Once Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he became very angry when a snake was killed. And Srila Prabhupada mentions that actually that when he read that shloka, that when a serpent or scorpion is killed, even a saintly person becomes happy. So like sages were angry with King Vena. Vena was such a rascal king, completely irreligious, and sages decided to kill. So much so that even the thieves and rogues they left his kingdom. He was such a dreaded person, king, and sages decided to, because they became so angry with Vena, they decided to kill Vena, and they killed him, and then Prithu Maharaj and uh, Archi Devi manifested, and to drive away. Uh, the miscreants. So the sages too, as devotees, they do that also. When there is a mischief made by others, a devotee should not forget to become angry at least for the time being in order to drive away the miscreants. Here you see Dhruv Maharaj killing the Yaksha, King Vane, how he was turned hand from turning from his right arm, and to Maharaj and Archie was born. And the Supreme Lord chastising and killing the demons for their upliftment, for their benefit, for releasing them from. So this way they can utilize the anger. So Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane, how Arjuna utilizes anger against Kauravas and other demons because Krishna wanted Arjuna to kill uh, those Kauravas. So that's just to establish dharma. And how Bhima, he killed so many demons, Kauravas. All the Kauravas were actually killed by Bhima. And Krishna and Arjuna killed all other miscreants in that army. And how Hanumanji, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, that how Hanumanji, Bajrangi, he killed so many Rakshasas in Lanka, and he set Lanka on fire, and he did much more about that, beyond that. So it is proper utilization of anger in the service of the Lord, and so many other examples. Lessons for personal application, and one is angry with others. What are the proactive measures? One shouldn't find fault in others. If someone has a little good quality, that should be magnified greatly. And a devotee like Lord Shiva, he magnifies good qualities in others. A devotee doesn't find fault with the behavior of Lord of the Lord in Aris and is finding fault with the Lord. This is the proactive measures, and should try to treat with people with non enmity. Like something bad happens, so people start blaming Krishna that because Lord is not controlling the situation, such things are happening. And the persons who are in mode of goodness, they actually develop that tolerance. So mode of goodness helps in tolerance, tolerating uh, 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 all those wrongdoings. And not only should we not insult Vaishnavas, we should also not insult others unnecessarily. It's not that we should insult people, but sometimes it becomes unavoidable. So we should try to do whatever is needful, okay, and not just get agitated and start insulting people. Some action should be taken if something wrong is happening. And then three things to be avoided: lust, anger, and mode of passion. To make tangible advancement, spiritual consciousness, three things are supposed to be avoided, as mentioned in the fourth canto, second chapter. And hearing about devotional service. Uh, constantly hearing about devotional service, Hari Katha, Ravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. So, one can check that. And anger is the enemy on the spiritual path. So, it is the foremost enemy on the spiritual path, and one should avoid that, because one in angry mood one can offend Vaishnavas. Vaishnava aparadh can happen. And then seeking essence of knowledge from all places. Pacify anger completely by seeking the essence of knowledge from all places, just as a bumblebee collects honey from each and every flower. We should be bhavagrahi. We should be as they say, we should not like hogs, feeding on stool and other things. We should be like bumblebee collecting honey from. So whatever is good, whatever is useful, needful for our spiritual advancement, we should do that. What are the response measures? Uh, Adjusting rivalry and competition and envy. So, a very classical example is that of Indra and Prithu. Indra and Prithu were envious and angry with each other, but they adjusted themselves. In Krishna consciousness, such a rivalry, competition, envy can be adjusted without difficulty. Second point is, should be jolly to receive much more qualified man. Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. Then third is, it is said that forgiveness is the beauty of tapasvi or saintly person. So Shama should be like an ornament on the personality of a devotee or a tapasvi. Fourth point is uh, forgiveness as a quality of those advancing in spiritual knowledge. Also, Shama is a quality of those who are advancing unless until you forgive someone, you can't expect yourself to be forgiven for your own offenses. Like His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, our Gurudev, he mentions that a Vaishnava is one who forgives others, or those who have offended, much before the offense itself is committed. Forgiveness is given before even the. Of course, it's. I'm not saying this because I've realized this, but it's my aspiration that one day I may be able to absorb this mood of our Gurudev. That we should be able to forgive all those who are not just who are offending us, but also those who are about to offend us. And he truly embodies this quality, uh, and that really attracts the mercy of Krishna. Uh, by forgiveness, you become eligible for this attracting the mercy of the Lord. And highly advanced, intelligent, devoted don't take any action against soul. So one who are both devoted and highly advanced intelligence does not take action against the soul or the body. If there is any discrepancy, he forgives. Just like Draupadi ji, she forgave uh, Ashwathama because he was Guru Putra, who had murdered in a cold-blooded murder was committed by that heinous crime was committed by Ashwathama. But still, Draupadi ji, following this principle of highly advanced in intelligence devoted, he just forgave that he was Guru Putra, and some token punishment was given by Krishna to Ashwathama. Lord is satisfied with tolerant people. Lord is very satisfied with a devotee who greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. So these qualities attract the Lord. Vaishnava is always tolerant for the benefit of others. So as they say that, Trinadapi Sunichena. So Vaishnava is like an ornament on the personality, on the body of a Vaishnava. And very difficult, but we are here to vibe all those things. And should tolerate reversals. One should tolerate reversals instead of becoming agitated. Just like Prithu Maharaj, he was almost he was about to finish all the necessary number of sacrifices, and then Brahma and then Indra again he committed that offense, and Lord Brahma appeared and he was advised to to uh, forgive Indra, and Prithu Maharaj was very much composed and he just followed the instruction given by Brahmaji. So here you can see uh, the the head of goat on the body of Daksha and how he's praying to Lord Shiva. And what when others become angry with us? Proactive measures of our behavior should not agitate others to make them angry with us and thereby commit a wrong to individuals, family, or society. So first and the foremost thing is, as they say, that if we can't change people, but we can only change ourselves, or we can only check our own behavior. We have to be, uh, we need to respond. We shouldn't react. Responsive measures, those are be kind to others and be always willing to do good to others, even one who curses us. Uh, Maybe one day we'll be able to imbibe all these good qualities, and you know, uh, we are trying to imbibe this, and by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev, we'll be able to embody all these qualities. At least we can theoretically understand them and meditate on these points. And one should not visit the home of even a relative or a friend if he is disturbed in mind, looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes. So this was exactly in a nutshell, it was told by Lord Shiva to Sati. She was agitated, she was angry, and she should not have gone there, but she went there and she didn't follow the instruction of her husband, who is actually Lord, and he himself he's Lord Shiva. So, and all those untoward things happened. We should try to avoid to such a place, like if you are in some particular city and your relatives are there, and if you are not in good terms with them, don't we should avoid going there. Or if they are not Krishna conscious, they are not favorable to Krishna consciousness, we shouldn't visit them. At least I personally follow that principle. An angry person can be pacified by good logic. Of course, in Kali Yuga it has become difficult pacify those who don't want to get pacified, they won't get pacified, but at least using good logic we can pacify angry person. And then the last one is uh, tolerance of Maharaj Prithu. That King Prithu was like earth. Although the earth is all trampled upon by man and animals, it still maintains them. So Prithu Maharaj, like earth, Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi, she had stopped giving grains and vegetables and fruits and other things, milk, everything to the subject, to the citizens of Maharaj Prithu, and still he tolerated that. But then he had to really do something about that, and he actually he uh, did milking of Mother Earth and the form of cow, and he obtained all the ingredients, and also the example of how Indra offended Maharaj Prithu so many times, and still he tolerated so many times. So we should follow the example of tolerance of Maharaj. So case studies in the so just to sum up, the case studies are some of them are that Lord Shiva, the first case, Lord Shiva was the recipient of that anger and instigator was Daksha, and he was cursed and insulted. The response was that Lord Shiva tolerated. And then uh, uh, Shiva Sati was advised by Shiva uh, that you shouldn't go to her father's house, but she was upset and she still went. And what happened that Sati was neglected and her husband was uh, insulted. The end result was she condemned Daksha, defended Shiva, and gave up her Lord Shiva and gave up her body. And then there are examples of Dhruva and Prithu Maharaj uh, and Narad Muni Narad Muni and Jara's example, and then Prachetas and trees. So there are many other case studies, but I just wanted to discuss this presentation on the basis of mainly focus on Daksh, Prajapati, and Sati, Lord Shiva's episode. Thank you very much. Please forgive me for all my shortcomings. Hare Krishna.